Welcome back to Beyond the Spectrum. This is Dreem, sharing our family's journey with autism. And this is episode 10. We are 1/3 of the way through this journey. So today we are going to jump right into Hope Infant Program. And if you recall, back in the beginning, we had talked about after he had gotten the diagnosis from the resource center, then we were placed with Hope Infant Program. And this was a place that would take care of our training and his therapies and treatments and all of that stuff until he reached the age of 3, at which point the school district would take over. That was a little bit concerning for me because we had always thought that we would homeschool, and I didn't know what that would look like and if we were going to take that option and if he needed the extra help and all of that. We'll get into that later. But let's go back to Hope. He had 2 therapists there. One was Miss Marilyn and one was Miss Jenny. And these 2 angels were absolutely incredible women who didn't just do their jobs well. Their jobs were part of who they were naturally. I was watching old videos, as I had posted that one video of Micah recently, and I found one where I was asking him, can he guess where we were going to go? Someplace special. And he was guessing. And I think his first place that he guessed was Hope. And he went through a few other places and he was like, I'm gonna go see Miss Marilyn and Miss Jenny. So I loved that because looking back, that was a special place for him. It didn't feel like, going to the doctors or going to the dentist. It felt like being with 2 women that absolutely loved him. And that was so important to us because they treated him as if he was part of their own heart. And I'm sure he was. But as much as they shaped him, they saw him in increments, 2 to 3 days a week. And so they had a great impact on his life. But obviously, the lion's share of the time that Micah was with people was with his family. So what we tried to do was glean as much as we could from them, watching them interact with him and loving him and picking up techniques and all of the tips and the training when we would actually go to Hope Infant Program. And then we had to implement that at home. And hands down, I say this without any doubt in my mind, the absolute best therapist in our household or anywhere was our little girl. She was 2 years younger than him, and she was everything that he needed. Now, I say that because obviously I believe that we all had different aspects. I could go beyond our family, but just to keep it short, I'll talk about just our family. So, of course, there's Daddy. And Daddy was, and still is to this day, a very calm personality. When he sits down, he just sits and relaxes. I joke because I used to wear his shirts and they would have like his cologne on it, but he also had this kind of scent that was just his, that would like flavor the cologne, that would be a relaxing scent. And the kids, all of them, all 3 of our kids would find their place on Daddy's lap and get very, very cozy and comfortable, and they would just fall in like as if he was a reclining chair. And he's 6'8", so their teeny tiny bodies in his lap he was completely enveloping them, and he wouldn't move. He would sit there and let them climb on him and love him, and he would just be this security for them. And then there was me, of course, and I won't go into great detail because you've already heard a lot of my relationship with Micah, so we'll go on. Then there was Micah's older brother, who was absolutely everything that Micah wanted to be. He was just super social, funny, boisterous and energetic, fun to be around. independent and very capable of talking to little kids, adults, anyone. He was very confident and sure of himself, very loving, and Micah just idolized him. As a matter of fact, later in their relationship growing up, Joey is the one who actually taught Micah how to play guitar in the very beginning. Micah picked it up after that and taught himself beyond that, but the initial teacher was Joey, and the reason why he wanted to play guitar was because Joey did it so well. And so they had a very special relationship, and they shared the same bedroom together for years. So it was a very special kind of, role model in his eyes. But the little sister was something very special and still is to this day. They are still living in our house at 20 and 22 and very happy to be here, which is amazing for 20 and 22-year-olds. And they get along. For the longest time, they were best friends. Then they reached that season where they weren't best friends anymore. And now, I don't know if they would say they were each other's best friends, but they have a very special, unbreakable bond. Very, very close. And it started way back when this little girl who was absolutely demanding of Micah's time and wanted a playmate and would not settle for a little boy taking toys and banging them against each other or throwing them against the wall or making repetitive, motions or sounds. She wanted to play with those dolls and those toys, and she wanted to make them do a specific storyline, and he was going to do it. No matter what he wanted, he was going to do what she wanted him to do. And it was the perfect combination, because if maybe she was older than him, he would just retreat. But he knew on some level that this was his little sister and that she was, she was younger and he had the role that was over her. So he never felt quite intimidated by her. Although that would come to be tested later, because she definitely was feisty. As they got older, she would definitely push all his buttons as if she was the older one. It just became so wonderful to watch how they worked together, because all of his little things that we didn't quite know how to break down for him and unravel for him became the thing that she could target, and she could work with him in a way that wasn't really therapy, but it was, and it was the best kind of therapy there could be. And whereas we would maybe, have to give him breaks, we would push him too hard, too long, too far, all of those things, and you'd have to think, oh, his poor little brain needs a break. There was no breaks with playtime with Sydney. She was going to go as long as she wanted, and he was going to get it right no matter how many times it took, because she wanted to be satisfied with this playtime. But it was always fun. It sounds like it was demanding, and she was as a little girl, but it was a little girl demanding, and it was a little girl that he loved. And watching them grow up together and watching their special relationship has been one of the absolute highlights and blessings of my life, that I've gotten to see their relationship become so strong and so important in each other's lives. And like I said, they've had some seasons where it's been pretty difficult because they're teenagers. And, well, when they were teenagers, it was difficult. Now, though, they're kind of entering that season where things have mellowed out and they've gotten through it together. And, of course, now Micah doesn't need a therapist anymore, right? Now he just needs a sister. But to see them kind of grow up together in the context of our family and the love that was surrounding Micah, it was just such a godsend to see all the different personalities and traits that worked so well together, characteristics, and it was just amazing to see the dynamics of our family. And that's just our immediate family. I can expound on that even more by going out from there, but I won't, since this is a short podcast. One of the things that I would hear so often, and again, It's one of those things that people say, meaning to be caring and compassionate. They don't mean anything by it. So I never took anything from it that was negative in any way. But one of the things that they used to say was, he's so lucky to have you all as his family. And they didn't realize that we were the lucky ones. And I know that sounds trite and cliche, but I can't encapsulate anymore how true that is. We were the ones that were so blessed and still continue to be blessed that he was stretching us in ways that we never would have been unless he was a part of our family. And I guess that's true for all of us, right? We were all stretched by each other, but I guess in some major pronounced ways, Micah and his quote-unquote issues brought something out of us that's a little bit out of the norm, unexpected. Definitely wouldn't have thought that we wanted it, but now I couldn't imagine it any other way, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So I hope that reaches you today. I hope that you look around your family and your support system, your friends, your neighbors, your teachers, and you see all the little gifts that they bring to help shape not just your child, but your family as well. That's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.